Hello again. I've spoken before of the endemic use of false identities by African workers in both the National Health Service and also private hospitals and care homes and other residential settings. There are so many Africans, most of them Nigerians, working in such places these days that it is impossible to keep track of them all. Other staff are reluctant to speak out about this lest they are accused of racism. A recent court case, I give a link to an article in a newspaper on this in the description to this video, is fairly typical of what is now seen in many hospitals and old people's homes. A Nigerian nurse, a woman called Joyce George, lent her staff lanyard to a male friend, another Nigerian called Lucius Njoku. He then turned up at the hospital where she was employed and worked all her shifts for a few weeks at the Countess of Chester Hospital. Although he was a man with an identification saying that his name was Joyce, and everybody knowing that he was supposed to be a female nurse, and I'm sure staff members realising that he wasn't the Joyce who had been coming to work there lately, not one member of staff wished to challenge him, and he performed intimate care for women as a supposedly female nurse. I'm sure that everybody knew there was something wrong, but what with all the fuss about trans nurses lately, and the fact that he was black, nobody wanted to be the one to point out that something was amiss. This is no isolated incident. I'm sure that viewers will have noticed that these days care homes seem to be staffed largely by Africans, and that many of them are Nigerian. There's an awful lot of swapping of identities going on, and it's not at all uncommon for identification and staff lanyards to be passed around and lent to others. This is particularly common on night shifts where there is sometimes difficulty getting staff, and management are so glad to get somebody to work from midnight until 8 in the morning that they don't wish to rock the boat by asking questions. Many African staff seem to have more than one name, so that they will be known as Yetunde on their official documents, but then they'll get telephone calls at work from somebody asking for Veronica, which they account for by claiming that this is their baptismal name. Or perhaps another African will call them Ireti, and then they tell people that's their tribal name. There is always a faint mystery about the true identity of many of these African workers. This is, of course, in addition to people sending their cousin or sister to work a shift, and the person simply bluffing it out and claiming that she is somebody else, and then saying something which is tantamount to an accusation of racism if anyone asks whether they really are the person they purport to be, such as, "What's the matter? You don't recognise me? What? All black people look the same to you, isn't it?" This is a brilliant tactic, guaranteed to make any white person blush and keep quiet about any doubts they might entertain regarding the person's true identity. I will readily admit that I found the case of Lucius and Jocko vastly entertaining because it is just exactly what so many of us have found when working in residential settings over the years.